A
Little louder.
Order the July 7th, 2026 special public hearing. It's on. Can you hear me
Yes.
now? Better? All right. Start over. Good evening. I am Town Moderator David M. Wilkinson. I call to order the July 7th, 2026 special public hearing. This is a public meeting of the qualified electors of the town of Charlestown. In my capacity as town moderator, I will preside over the special public hearing. This evening's panelists include Charlestown Town Council, Craig T. Marr, Peter A. Sloan, Stephen J. Stokes, Bonnie Van Slyke, Deborah A. Carney. Gregory Zenian, Chariho Regional School District Director of Administration and Finance, Catherine Ellithorpe, Architect and Managing Principal at the SLAM Collaborative, Jeffrey S. Allen, Town Administrator, Amy Rose Weinrich, Town Clerk, David Petraka Jr., Town Solicitor. Upon entry into the Charlestown Elementary School, attendees have been asked to present identification and provide the address from which they are registered to vote. The Board of Canvassers to confirm each attendee's qualifications to count toward a quorum of registered voters. 10 electors shall constitute a quorum, but votes will only be taken if a quorum of 50 has been reached and there are conflicting warrant items, section C-94. Mr. Weinrich, is there a quorum of 10 qualified voters present?
Yes, sir, there are.
On Monday, June 8th, 2026, the Town Council unanimously approved the scheduling of a special financial town referendum on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, to vote on the following question. Here is the referendum question. Pursuant to section C-14, section C-16 of the town charter, shall the Town Council of the Town of Charlestown be authorized to act by resolution or ordinance to enter into a long-term ground lease with the Chariho Regional School District for the construction, financing, and operation of an elementary school serving the towns of Charlestown, Richmond, and Hopkinton, consisting of one or more buildings on a single campus on the site of the former Charlestown Elementary School, with the Chariho Regional School District responsible for demolishing the existing Charlestown Elementary School building and enter into a license agreement with the Chariho Regional School District for school use of Wickland Field, a town-owned recreation area acquired Improvement Land and Water Conservation Fund, LWCF grants, while the town retains ownership and Wickland Field remains dedicated to public outdoor recreation in compliance with LWCF requirements, and in connection therewith authorize the Town Council to adopt an ordinance providing for such ground lease and license arrangements. This will be a yes or no question. Explanatory note. The approval of this question will authorize the Town Council to enter into a long-term ground lease under which the Chariho Regional School District will demolish the existing Charlestown Elementary School building and construct, finance, and operate a new elementary consisting of one or more buildings on a single campus school serving the towns of Charlestown, Richmond, and Hopkinton on that site. Will authorize the Town Council to enter into a license agreement allowing the Chariho Regional School District to use Wickland Field for school programs, while the town keeps ownership and Wickland Field continues to function as public outdoor recreation consistent with LWCF rules. And authorize the Town Council to adopt any ordinance necessary to provide for and implement the ground lease and Wickland Field license arrangement described above, just read. Upon authorization of the Town Council, the Town Clerk has submitted the question to the Board of Elections for ballot printing, section C-86.G. Sufficient copies of the special financial town referendum ballot question were prepared for distribution, section C-82. On or before Monday, July 27th, 2026, the Town Clerk will publish and post the warrant for the all-day referendum, section C-87.B.2. The electors of the town will vote on the question at the special financial town referendum to be held on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. One polling location will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Town Hall. Mail ballots will be available upon request only at number 401-364-1200 or arweinrich@charlestownri.gov. The mail ballot certification list will be available on referendum day and cross-reference with voters appearing to vote in person. Mail ballots will be fed, counted through the DS-200 on referendum day. Draft results will be available at the close of polls. The vote is an approval or rejection of the previously read question, section C-86.A. The protocol for taking public comments during the public hearing will be as follows. A brief presentation will be made by representatives from the Town Council, the Chariho Regional School District, and the district's architectural firm. Comments from the public are being accepted in person only. Speakers will be called upon in the order in which their names appear on the public hearing sign-in sheet, after which comments will be taken from attendees in the order in which they appear at the podium. When called upon, attendees are asked to identify themselves by giving their name and residence address. Each speaker will be allowed 2 minutes to offer comments. Questions and comments will be responded to by the appropriate panel representatives. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Sergeant, thank you. We will now take comments from the Town Council.
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? All right, so the 50,000-foot overview of the project is if the voters of Charlestown approve this question, then if in November, the voters of all three towns, Hopkinton, Richmond, and Charlestown, approve the Chariho referendum question to build 2 unified elementary schools. Unified meaning it would be for the children of Richmond, Hopkinton, and Charlestown. The plan as it's currently drafted, and there are graphics in the back, and we also have a presentation from SLAM, would be to build a pre-K to 1 facility, which would be located on the downward side of this property. And then this building would be demolished and would be housing grades K through 5. So as part of this plan, the 5th grade would be coming back into the elementary school. I'm getting a head shake. I'm going to ignore that for now. 2 through 5, yes. I'm sorry, did I say 1 through 5? Yeah, 2 through 5, thank you. And the way it would work is the pre-K to 1 would be built first. When that is completed, the Charlestown children that go here now would go into that facility. Then they would knock down this existing building, and then they would begin the 2 through 5 construction here. Once the 2 through 5 is completed, then all the children from Charlestown, Richmond, and Hopkinton would be housed on this campus. One of the benefits of this is that this campus is only 4 miles from where the main campus is, where the current middle school and high school are housed. So this is actually a 2-part process. In order for the district to use this parcel of land, the people of Charlestown need to vote on it first. That's because, as our town moderator read in his opening statements, the town charter requires a vote of the public for disposition of items greater than $50,000, which obviously this building is. So that's the high overview. Mr. Zenyan is here to also answer questions to kind of explain how we got to this point. The district had looked at over 60 parcels of land, none of which really suited their needs. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Zenyan to pick up the discussion from here, and then we can bounce back and forth with other questions. So, Mr. Moderator, if it's okay, may I turn the floor over to Mr. Zenyan?
Yes, Greg, please go ahead.
Hello, I'm Gregory Zenyan, Director of Administration. Hello, I'm Gregory Zenyan, I'm the Director of Administration and Finance at the Chariho Regional School District. How did we get here? We looked at over 60 pieces of land in all 3 towns, and we found promising land in each town. What became the issue was land in South County right now is extremely expensive. The minute they saw the school system looking to purchase it, the prices were increased. So nothing was affordable. So after doing a pretty extensive search, we looked back at our 3 elementary schools. Richmond's, the traffic with Richmond to put a unified school there, it did not seem feasible. We already have a huge traffic problem there with half the amount of students. Asherway does not have enough acreage to do what needs to be done. And Charlestown has just about enough when you include a little parking from Wickland Field. So Charlestown became our spot. It is conveniently located close to our main campus. So we would have 2 campuses set up. There are definitely pros and cons to it. We did look at land very close to our current secondary campus. And, you can make the argument that, did you want to add another 1,000 students onto that campus? So there are definitely pros and cons, but in the end, with the architect's approval, this piece of land seemed to be the best piece for what we need and what we're able to obtain. So we're coming to you to see if your vote on August 4th for the first step in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. At this point, we'd like to introduce Catherine Ellithorpe as the architect from SLAM. And she's going to give a brief overview of the project and a presentation as well.
There we go. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you see the screen? I'll stand to the side. If any of what he's picked up the packet, if these are the same images that have been distributed. I am Kathy Ellithorpe. I'm the principal in charge from the SLAM Collaborative Architects for the Chariho project. And thank you for letting me come and talk to you briefly tonight. So if you could go to the next slide, please. This presentation picks up on after the presentations that we gave last fall, which was one unified school, one school. And some of the comments that we got from those meetings were, all the comments were very helpful, but some of the comments that led us to where we are now were that the school seemed very large and possibly overwhelming to students. Was there a way for us to break it down into smaller communities? You'll see that we did. Where will it be located? That was when Greg and team were continuously searching for a site. We didn't have a site. It was a fictitious flat site at the time. And then the question became, can the 5th graders move in with the elementary students? And administration has made that possible. The next slide, please. So you'll see we have 2 buildings. As was stated already, the pre-K 1, these names are not the final names. We just needed a way to differentiate them when we were talking about them. So Early Explorers would be the pre-K 1 and Innovators Academy 2 through 5. The population is about 1,200 students and about 461, give or take, in the pre-K 1 building and about 740 in the larger building, which would be on this exact spot here. One of the advantages to building one building and then the other is that you don't need to incur the cost of swing space because the students don't have to go someplace else in between. So that was a benefit that we found as we moved on. So this is the existing site now. So we are in this building at this end, and this is Wickland Field. It's a long, skinny strip at the bottom. We are not planning, well, we can't plan to do anything to it with the exception of some parking that you'll see that slides over the line and can be a benefit to the people using the park. So if you could go to the next one. So this is our proposed site plan. The new pre-K 1 building on the back side of the hill. This is the crown of the hill. This is the highest point. People have asked, will we be able to see that building as we drive by? Maybe, depends. There might be a spot where you can see through, but our intention is not to take down all the trees at the top. Here's Wickland Field. You can kind of see the black property lines. It's a very long, thin site. This circle is a proposed new well. There's a 200 or 400 foot catchment zone that you have to stay out of. So that's why there's nothing proposed over the top of that. For circulation, we have 2 circulation routes. Coming in this way, cars could come in and drop off and go out. Cars could come in and drop off to the 2 to 5 school this way, and buses can be confined to their own circulation loop to keep the cars and the trucks, the buses separate. But they're all configured such that after you move in, you don't like the buses over here, you can move the buses around in the places where we're currently saying you put cars. So it builds in a lot of flexibility. The sort of pink spaces that are shown would be outdoor play. So there'd be a dedicated outdoor play for pre-K and K through 1, and similarly for the older students. So we'll take a quick look at this building first. If you can go to the next slide. One more. So this is the upper level. This is a 2-story building. It's built into the hill. So as the hill is going down, we have a first floor, and then we're sliding in a lower floor. Double loaded corridor on this side, where the driveway that you saw coming up comes here. Cars would drop students off to use this entry point. Buses would come in, they would be dropping off at the lower level. Again, a traditional 2-story double loaded corridor with pre-K and kindergarten bathrooms in the classrooms. This would be, put my glasses on to read it. Up above, we have a movement room. Down below, you'll see that we have a cafeteria and a kitchen. If you could go to the next. And I'm going to go through these quickly because I know your meeting is primarily about the land. Downstairs, we have a single loaded corridor because this side is built into the hill. So if you think about a walkout basement, this side is not daylit, but this side is. Students would be entering from buses over here, cafeteria, kitchen, and a large vertical circulation with an elevator here. Go to the next, please. So now we'll take a look at, if you go to the next slide, the 2 through 5 school. One more. All right, so this one is 2 stories with a piece slid underneath. This is the road, the road side where the parking was. This is where the bus loop comes. So buses coming in on this side, students could come in here, or they could come in here to this lower level. All of your administration is here, a full-size gym. The other building had a movement room because the students are small. They don't have need for a full-size gym for gym class. OT, PT, nurse, and then a variety of teaching rooms, some special education. Next floor, please. So now we've gone up, and now this is 2 stories. One of the interesting things about this site is as you drive along the road this way, there's actually a full story change. So that lower level and this lower level both get out at grade, which is great with kids. Anything you see in yellow, the classrooms, in this plan, we have cafeteria and kitchen with a platform. It's not a full stage, but it is a platform, and 2 expanded learning zones that can be used for a variety of teaching and learning. And on the upper floor, if we go one more, looks very much the same, except we have a teacher's workroom in the middle, the media center, and then 2 sets of classrooms on both sides. I should mention this is what we call an 8-track, which means there's 8 classes of each grade in this building, as well as the other building. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. Great. At this time, we're going to take comments from folks who signed up. There was one. I'm going to hopefully pronounce your name correct. Mark Iskander. Can you state your name and address, please, just for the record?
You got to go to the podium.
That's all right. Thank you.
First of all, I appreciate all the work that the school committee has put into this. As a neighbor right here, we don't want it. The increased school traffic is enough. The noise, I think we could probably live with, but the school traffic is going to have to at least triple, right? Charlestown has the fewest number of kids between the 3 towns. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, just expressing an opinion and knowing most of the neighbors, the potential decrease in property value for the immediately nearby properties, or the decreased or the slower increase in value as compared to other properties in the town, we are not for this. And I can tell you that all the neighbors that I know right around here are going to feel the same way, but I understand that we have to go through the process, and if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. That's all.
Appreciate your comments.
Thanks.
Thank you. At this point, there's no one else on the list, but we will open it up to anybody that is seated. If they want to come to the podium and ask a question, they are more than welcome to.
It's just a question. The land.
Can you give me
Sorry.
a name and address?
Yeah, and I have to adjust this. It's Ruth Plattner, Mays Drive, Charlestown. When you were looking at suitable parcels and the parcels that were suitable, is there kind of a price range that you found? I'm just curious as to what the price of land approximate. You don't have to give me exact figures, just kind of the range, just to have a feeling for.
So
what they-
ideally, we were looking for between 20 and 35 acres. So I had a range with that. The prices came in from 2.5 to 5.2 million. The one piece of land that came in a little bit less was not the new regulations with the state. It was too close to Route 95.
Yeah, so that would be not suitable.
Right, so the suitable land was, I would say between $2 and $5.2 million.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. I think the lady in the back, did you want to come up? I know you raised your hand. Come on up.
Michelle Carpenter, 1215 Warden's Pond Road. So the question I had is, I came in, I think, right when you were saying it. Where will the students go in the interim that are currently enrolled at Charlestown?
So when they're building the pre-K to 1 building, the students would remain here.
Okay.
Once that building is completed, they would move all the students from here into that building. So they would remain in Charlestown on the same campus. Once this building is done, the pre-K to 1 would remain there, and they would bring in the students from Richmond and Hopkinton. And then the 2 through 5 from Charlestown, Richmond, Hopkinton would be housed in this location in the new building.
Okay. And then what is the construction timeline that you're looking at?
I'm going to divert that question to Mr. Zenyan.
Or Catherine.
A project of this size, we would expect each building, the smaller building might take a little less than 2 years, but the larger building probably 2 years, and then, some site restoration. The guidelines, or I should say the regulations of the RIDE, is once you get approved to move into a stage 3, which is the full project, there's 5 years to complete the entire construction. So we believe that it certainly can get done within that timeline. It would just have to be managed to that time.
Okay, so each building is roughly 2 years.
Yeah.
Sequential,
Give or
not
take.
in parallel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, one after the other.
Okay. I think that was it for my questions. I mean, I don't live directly adjacent to the parcel, but I have a student in the elementary school, and the school is desperately in need of updating. So I fully support this, but recognize that, the direct neighbors may have some concerns.
Thank you very much. Yes, come on up.
My name is Mary Kessler, and I'm at 233B Carolina Back Road. And my question's really a follow-up to your question. One, how many buses will service the school? And I know parents love to drive their kids to school now, so how many cars? And will those kids be will they all get dropped off at once, or will it be a staggered start and finish? I'm not even aware if kindergarten's full day or not in Charlestown anymore.
Greg?
So the way it's being set up, pre-K through 5 will have the same start and end time. We have not finalized bus runs, but we are estimating 25 large buses and 5 to 11 minibuses. And then from being the principal of the middle school for 20 years, if it snows or rains, you could quadruple the amount of cars that are going to be dropping off. But it's very unpredictable because parents will drive on certain days and have them bus on other days. So we won't know the parent drop off until you're up and running.
Do you have an idea, like right now, how many parents drop off at Charlestown Elementary School?
I agree. All on the side. That's a big concern. 112 is going to be dangerous. It's going to screw up people's commute to work. I'm sorry.
No, that's
Okay.
exactly what I'm kind of wondering too.
So what kind of studies have we?
Sorry,
If you could actually go, I'll call you back to the podium once you're finished.
I think I'm follow up.
Okay, do you have a follow-up question? Before you do that, is there anybody else that has not spoken yet? Go ahead.
Mr. Moderator, if I could just take the moment, like, while we're waiting. Anyone who wants to talk needs to speak one at a time at the mic. We're recording this. There's a record that's being made. So but while we appreciate the comments kind of come as they come, just try to keep them for the podium and at the mic. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joanne Melise, 620 Alton Carolina Road, Charlestown. Couple of questions, couple of comments. What is the Innovator Academy?
Just a name that was given to one of the buildings for right now.
For one of the buildings, it says 2 to 5.
So there's 2 buildings that are on this campus that are being recommended.
Yeah.
So they just gave them names so that they could separate the 2 buildings.
Oh, okay. Thank you. What's going to happen to the existing elementary schools in Richmond and Hopkinton?
They would be given back to the towns according to the Chariho Act.
Okay. Just a question. I know this building is used a lot for recreation for the children of Charlestown. A lot of rec sports here. Will that continue? Will the other other towns be using this gym, these new gyms, or will they be able to continue with their own buildings?
So the Chariho Regional School District would set up where any of the 3 towns could sign up to use it, just like the main campus. So right now on your main campus, you could have Hopkinton, Charlestown, or Richmond using the gym. Their rec programs, for example. So there's a process that they have to follow, and they would have to register and sign up to use it. And we would follow the same process.
And have you explored the capacity with this new plan for people in Charlestown to be able to have similar access as they have now to the gym?
They would have similar access. It may be a little bit less if there's 2 other towns that are looking to use it too.
Yeah, that's a concern for me. And just the other things are just 2 comments. I'm concerned about the water and the well. We're a completely well-dependent town, the well and septic and all of that. So I hope that you're being very environmentally conscious of that. And I share the concerns about the traffic. There's a night and day when summer session is on and when school is in session for anyone that lives on any of these roads, and to think about it doubling or tripling, it's horrific. So I hope that you give that consideration, Town Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that has not spoken yet? Yes, sir.
Hi, Jim McCabe, 4960 South County Trail. Since this is being recorded and the public may be paying attention, I just want to hear, have a couple questions for answering. It was previously mentioned the cost of land in this area. Can you repeat what those costs for most of those 60 parcels were on average?
We were looking between $2 and $5.2 million.
What is Charlestown offering this land for?
I believe a very modest lease of $1 a year.
Thank you. I also share the concerns about the parking and traffic in the area. However, some questions I've received or some comments I've seen in the public, this is not related to previous budget referendums for elementary schools, correct? That were put in front of the voters. This is a new referendum.
Yes, the last one to build 3 new elementary schools failed.
So we're seeking a unified elementary school here to satisfy the needs of fixing the elementary schools in our regional district.
That would be the hope.
Correct. I think that's all I wanted to ask tonight. Just thank you for clarification.
Thank you. Anybody else in the back that has not asked a question? I know, sir, you want to ask a question? All good? Okay. Yes, sir.
First, I apologize for speaking out of turn. Not familiar with this process, but I'm not seeing any reference to any kind of traffic study or impact. Has one been done? And if so, can you publish those results and make them accessible to us?
Catherine?
Yes, we've had traffic engineers that have come out and done traffic counts at all of the sites as well as this one just before school got out. They were able to come, I think, 2 weeks before school was done. I would think it would be public knowledge. I don't know to share those. That's
Yeah, how
up
can
to
we
the
review those studies? And how did this site location compare strictly from a traffic perspective?
I couldn't tell you that right now because I'm not familiar with the report, but the report does include information on the other 3, or the other 2 rather. I would defer to you whether it's how they get it, if it's available.
So if it can be made public, I'll make it public. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, okay. You referenced 25 large buses, and I forget what you said about the mini buses and whatnot. How much is that in comparison to what we currently have coming in and going from the the current location?
So from this elementary school,
Yeah.
I believe right now you have 12 large buses and 11 mini buses coming right now.
Okay. So strictly from a bus perspective, we're more than doubling. And from a passenger vehicle perspective, do we have any idea? Do you recall from the studies? Like people said, parents love to drop their kids off more and more and more. And that's clearly going to more than triple with the other 2 towns having more kids in the school than Charlestown. So I'm just reinforcing our concern about traffic patterns and how it's going to impact people's commutes. Of course, we're also concerned, we're all on a well.
So
We're also concerned about that.
currently has, I believe, 450 students with the preschool in it, because you do have students coming from the other 2 towns currently.
Okay.
So you're looking at, yes, more than doubling your current population.
Okay. And from a traffic perspective, I would have to imagine that it
You're
will be
going to probably double.
considerably more than double given the parental drop-offs, which is currently a pretty major problem as it is with the current number of less than a third. So does the town council understand that the traffic is potentially going to be a problem?
Right. So again, the reason this is coming before the voters is
Yeah.
because we were approached by Chariho. They were looking for land.
Correct.
The voters get to vote on this.
Right.
This isn't a council decision.
Sure.
We voted to put it before the council, before the voters for you all to decide and weigh in. But I think Mr. Zenyan brought up a valid point too. Like right now, there aren't just Charlestown students, even though we only have like 23% of the kids. We currently have students from all 3 towns coming here because of the pre-K. And then I believe there's also some Richmond students that attend the older grade levels as well. But traffic, obviously, these are all valid points. that you
Okay.
raised.
How do we formally request to see the detail of the traffic studies that have been done?
You just did it.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Right up here in the front.
Abigail Tarver, 197 Old Coach Road. So I have a question about parking. Do you know how many parking spaces are outside right now?
I do not know how many exactly are out there right now, but I do know that the new parking has more than you currently have now.
Right. I'm looking at the map,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm asking, because it looks like there's, what does it say, 40 parking spaces in front of the smaller kids' school, plus there's a small lot off to the side, and then there's another 40 something spaces that would be in front of the larger kids' school, correct?
I believe you because you counted them.
Well, that's what it says on the paper. So, but I'm also seeing like the road that goes back. So most of that traffic will be in front of the school,
So
but not on the road, correct? That's
part of
part
the
of
reason
that.
for the long, I'll call it the long twisting road way up, particularly up the hill, is to try and give a place for the cars to queue when they're picking up or dropping off. Whether it's going to hold them all, I wouldn't guarantee that, because they're depending upon, as he said, people's preferences. And similarly, in front of the 2 to 5 school, that there's, as long as we could get of a queuing line for parents or anyone driving before they drop at the doors.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that that's what that was looking like and I was reading it correctly. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else with questions? You have not spoken yet. Go ahead, sir.
Joe DeMarco, Narrow Lane in Charlestown. Conspicuous by its absence in this discussion is cost. How much is the project going to cost? We know you're saving money on the land. What about the buildings?
So the November vote will go out for a bond for not to exceed $116 million.
Okay.
If I may just add into, the district is eligible for a minimum of 61% state aid reimbursement with the potential up to 65%, depending on, I think if it's health, safety and welfare or something, we could get additional bonus. Just so you know, we're not on the hook for the full 118 million. And one thing I neglected to mention when I was giving my overview, Charlestown would retain ownership of the land under this agreement, but we would be disposing of the building. So we would be leasing the land to the district probably for $1 like we do right now. We own the land, we own the building, as does Richmond and Charlestown own their elementary schools, and we all lease them back to the district for $1.
Thank you. Anybody else that hasn't spoken yet? I know you've spoken. Yes, sir.
Jim McKay, 4960 South County Trail. Follow-up question to that. That's a good point. The purpose of this gathering and public hearing is for an August vote specific to Charlestown to offer the land for Chariho Regional School District. It does not include approving the approval of a November budget referendum, correct? So only if this is approved can we move forward to a November budget referendum for this land.
For this land,
For this
if
land.
the voters say yes to this, then Chariho will proceed with their public informational campaign using this as the parcel. If the voters of Charlestown say no to this, then the ball's in Chariho's court as to what their next step is. And that would be a decision of the school committee, you know, whether or not to go forward with the November vote, whether or not to pursue other parcels. So if the voters of Charlestown say no, then it's uncertain what will happen with the vote. If the voters of Charlestown say yes, then there will be a vote of all 3 towns in November.
Thank you for that clarification. And my final question, I suppose I should offer, I'm on the Chariho School Building Committee, and which is for a different secondary campus referendum that was passed. So I have no knowledge of anything happening here. I'm not related. Just as a Charleston resident, I attended the previous presentation on this and just wanted to ask one question for our SLAM representative. I believe it was mentioned in that presentation, the plans for the new schools offer improved vestibules, exit and entry areas, and improved security compared to our current elementary schools. Is that correct? Or can you comment on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We typically will do a ballistic rated vestibule so that in the event of something horrific with a firearm, that it's very difficult. You slow them down getting into the rest of the building. We have a window that you come to that's like you would come to at a bank window where you give your credentials and then you're buzzed in or whatever the procedure is to be let into the office and then potentially into the rest of the building. So those are what we call hardened entry points.
And that's an improvement over our current elementary school designs, in your
Best of my
opinion.
knowledge, I don't think you have that level of ballistic rating at this point.
We do have the bulletproof glass and two-door entry,
Yeah.
but you know, you're taking an old building and redesigning it for it versus these buildings were not designed with
Yeah.
Active shooters in mind. Right, a new building will be designed knowing that an active shooter is a possibility.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Hate to ask the question, but thank you for that
No, it's an
clarification.
important one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Richard Cole, 185 Scapa Flow Road. Okay, the $100 million, that seems to be the number that Mrs. Carey gave out. That's a lot of money to take out on loan. You got to remember you're paying interest. In the up to 65% is a key figure, key wording that people really need to know. Up to 65%. If they decide to drop that, we're still on the hook for the full amount, up to the full amount. If some politician somewhere decides to change things around, and that happens in the political, in our new political environment. So I think saying 65% is going to be covered is a wishful thinking. That's my opinion. Number two, structurally, how many of the 3 or 4 elementary school buildings now are structurally deficient?
So right now, there's only 3 facilities, but this is a Chariho question because they're responsible for the building. So I'm going to refer this one to Mr. Zenyan.
Okay.
So structurally, all 3 buildings, the state report coming out will tell you they're past their prime.
That says they're past their prime.
Well, they'll say that they should be replaced.
Okay. What structural information are they given for that? Or are they just saying it's past their time because of a date? Because they're all brick and mortar buildings.
So the
So we have
report
some
that
pretty
we're
good.
waiting to be public will show that the 3 current elementary schools that Chariho uses will need $52 million worth of renovations in the next 5 years. The report's already 2 years old, so you would not get into that to at least year 3 if you're lucky, if not year 4. There's also $28 million in escalation costs over the first 5 years. So that means if no work is done in the first 5 years, you can put another 28 million onto it. So the 3 current
Those are
elementary
up to
schools-
28 million. Those are up to numbers, correct?
No,
They're exact numbers that you
no,
have?
I would say they're not accurate. I would say they're lowballed.
Okay.
So
That's
you're
your
looking at
opinion.
$80 million in the next 5 to 7 years for your 3 current elementary schools.
Okay.
So the taxpayers have to decide, is that what they want to do?
And parking. I know you got the parking in the back. I was looking at the map and all that stuff. Has anybody, I mean, personally, I've gotten stuck in the Richmond mess for years. And you're going to add that mess to our already backed up and you got buses parking in the dirt. Plus you're going to have Ashway. And some of these kids are going to be second graders traveling from Bethel and Ashway to come here. It's, some of these kids are going to be on the bus a long time, a very long time. And that second graders, I don't think they're, well, we had that problem with our son when we moved. He was on the bus for an hour and 15 minutes as a kindergarten. I don't think it's healthy for him personally. I think it's a bad idea. That's all I got to say.
Thanks for your comments.
Mr. Moderator. So just, I was at one of the school committee meetings where that issue of the busing came up. And the school committee commented that some of that can be addressed by adding additional buses to the route, to cut down on some of the times. I'm just sharing information that was relayed at the meeting. And then going back to the up to 65%, right now Chariho will get the 61%. So yeah, it could go as high as 65. And you're right, at any point in time, somebody can say, yep, we're pulling everything and then we get nothing. But because we are regionalized, and I don't ever recall a time in history when we didn't get the reimbursement, not saying it could never happen. I would never say that. But Mr. Zen, am I correct that we've never been denied the reimbursement up to this point?
That is correct. Chariho's history has never been denied regional bonus. So that would be something very new for the state to do.
Thank you.
Great. Any further comments? Wonderful. Thanks for all of your input. At this point, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Motion to adjourn. Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.